Dr. Begum Mathyk, thank you so much for joining us on the Join or Die on Earth podcast. Could you start by telling us a little bit about who you are and what your background is?
Thank you, Dr. Eli Overbay, for welcoming me to this podcast. I'm very excited to conduct this interview together. Yeah, for sure. I started my medical career in obstetrics and gynecology almost about 18 years ago now. I was trained in both Turkey and United States, and over the time, I became especially focused on my focus specifically was on reproductive endocrinology and infertility. While I was deeply engaged on doing research and patient care on women's health on Earth, but I was also fascinated by aerospace medicine. So how, human body adapts in space. And following those questions and, my interest, I completed my NASA aerospace medicine clerkship at Johnson Space Center. And later I completed the NASA STAR program and also IAS courses. During all these space biology and medicine training and learning, I noticed that how little we actually know about the sex differences and women's health specific condition in space. So that triggered my curiosity, which I already have, and that curiosity want to bridge the reproductive endocrinology with space medicine, and that now I think is shaping out my career.
So what are the main questions that you focus on? You said endocrinology. Does that encompass all of it? Are there different components to that?
So when we look at endocrinology, there are some subsections of the endocrinology because I'm people can do like adrenal gland, or there are different parts of the endocrinology system. But my focus is because of my background is obstetrics and gynecology. So our subspecialty is basically reproductive endocrinology. So my main focus basically in a broader picture is how does space travel affect female biology? But more specific, of course, I'm looking at reproductive health from every aspect. That could be like hormonal regulations to the fertility, or also gynecologic interventions, diagnosis and management of conditions as well. So basically, in many ways, what I'm doing is translating the research and patient care, well, what I practice here on Earth, into the context of space, so that the woman's health is fully supported as we venture beyond our planet or wherever we go.
Have you had more luck? Traditionally NASA's been the place to study this. NASA's had a monopoly on astronauts for almost the entire time humanity's had access to space. But now we have SpaceX, we have Axiom, we have Blue Origin, we have Virgin Galactic. Have you found that it's easier to study commercial astronauts? Is it easier to study NASA astronauts? What crews have you worked with in the past?
It depends on, I think, the research questions, the funding resources, because sometimes government agencies like NASA or European Space Agency can provide you funding, not only a platform to run your research, but also commercial spaceflight crew sometimes can be open to try different things. And although there are different things, they may not, some of them directly fund you, but there may be a different platform to run your research. So it all depends on. So I submitted, to NASA to proposals too. We are recently funded for a great project, which I will discuss later. But also I started to work with the IAS crew, which is also selected for Virgin Galactic. So, I have different collaborations and another project, an isolation study in Europe. So it depends again, like whatever you're asking for is a question, and if you need an extra funding for a government space agency.
Yeah, you mentioned something you said you'd talk about later. Is that an upcoming project?
Yes. We have so many great upcoming projects, and we are collaborating together as well. So I'm so excited for that. Yeah. So we recently got funded for tissue chips in space, primarily NIH, but it's also NASA's tissue chips in space program. So we are working on developing a 3D tissue chip for, reproductive organs. And also I'm collaborating with colleagues from Europe on a European Space Agency isolation study. So we're going to investigate the sex differences in isolation and confinement. And also most recently, that where we will collaborate all together. It's very exciting. I'm preparing for an upcoming parabolic flight study through IAAS, which
Are you
I'm also
going on a
part of the
parabolic flight?
committee. I don't know. Surprise. We will see what we have. Yeah, last year I was on a parabolic flight with IAS, our gravity course. It was very fun, but also we did so many one of its kind research, like our gynecologic ultrasound during weightlessness just published in our society journal. So, people see that parabolic flight has also its own venue in space research. So, yeah, there are exciting projects coming out.
That's amazing. Yeah, there's just so many more flight opportunities now. The parabolic flights too in particular are just they're so important for testing things too before you take them on actual missions,
Definitely.
especially if you're developing new technology to make sure it works or doing a research protocol because there's just a lot of people find when they get to the International Space Station, there's some variable they didn't anticipate and their experiment breaks.
Well, I can tell you that I'm doing research on Earth for a while now, both translational science and clinical research. But when it comes to space, I noticed that you have to think about a lot of troubleshooting. Like you need to be creative. That was also interesting, my first parabolic flight experiment. Like, you need to come up with solutions like transportations, or it's literally sometimes you need like a what do you call like a portable lab. It's not feasible sometimes, so it's very exciting. That's why to do space research, not only topic wise, but it pushes you to be more creative and troubleshooting.
Yeah, to MacGyver a lot of things, like make up things on the spot. We've worked together on this previously on, some different collaborations, but you have a paper. You were first author on a paper in the Space Omics and Medical Atlas package that came out about a year ago now. Your paper, Spaceflight Induces Changes in Gene Expression Profiles Linked to Insulin and Estrogen. Could you summarize what the key findings were of that study?
Oh, of course. Thank you so much. And it was a great package. And I think it's amazing to sum up. Last, like, you guys did an fascinating, outstanding job on it. So congratulations again to you and your team. So there has been some studies about reproductive health or reproductive endocrinology in space or overall reproduction in space. So, but I try to look the same question from a different angle. So I was interested in hormone signaling pathways, the hormone levels, and I have to use the data, whatever is available, basically. This was, to my best knowledge, like first of its kind paper looking at different data sets. We utilized 16 data sets. We not only look at the female mice or female samples, we also look at the sex differences. We look at the estrogen network genes, the genes under the control of estrogen, and also insulin. And there was a reason why I focused on two different hormones. We first time demonstrated spaceflight alters the estrogen related gene network. And some of them are very important genes, depending on the sample and tissue where you look at, or it is a mice sample or human sample. Some of the genes were key genes that for enzymes that synthesize hormones. And when we look at a subset of bigger changes, we also identified that, okay, we found some changes, but what is related to those gene changes? There were some metabolic and immunity related pathways. So it was very interesting to look at this question from a bigger perspective using multiple data sets and omics perspective, because we also use proteomics, transcriptomics, and there was a special transcriptomics data as well.
Yeah. Were all of your subjects from mice?
Not all of them. We had the female mice that went to space. We also had the male and female mice look at some sex differences on the skin data of mice that went to space. But we also have the inspiration for data. That was amazing. And thank you guys for this collaboration. So we look at the skin spatial transcriptomics. And the most important thing is the PBMC data, the blood data. So we also show that in those, for example, in the skin compartment, one particular, the vascular one, has more sensitive to those gene changes related to hormones. So
So
we
this was in
indeed,
the spatially resolved transcriptomic data from the scan. You looked at the
yes,
vasculature regions?
yes,
Yeah.
vasculature, outer dermis, inner dermis, like there were different different
Yeah.
sections of it. So we also,
For the audience who may be listening here, what we did with that skin tissue was we had skin tissues from the Inspiration 4 crew before and after flight. We partitioned those, put them onto slides, and then using a platform at the company NanoString, we used a protocol called geomics, which allowed us to actually select different parts of the tissue and then get compartment level sequencing. So we got gene expression results from the outer epidermis, the inner epidermis, the dermal tissue, and what Begum is using, the vasculature.
yeah. So that was really cool. So I'm very happy. I think that was an important paper along with other papers that I contribute to the package, just to highlight that why we need to put more emphasis on the omics data. collaboration and female focused conditions. And one thing also we work together on another paper in that package is the sex differences on immune cells. So there was like the immune cells from single cell sequencing data. So between there were from the expression for male versus female, there was differences in immune response in a short term and long term.
This
So
was
when
with
I
Dr. Kim,
analyzed it,
right?
which one?
This was with Dr. Kim, right? That was Jane Kuhn Kim's paper?
Jenkins Camper, we're all co-author in it. Like we all work and analyze part of it. I only, I analyze mostly my emphasis mostly the focusing on the sex differences, looking at the response of immune cells. So that's what like I think that the Soma Atlas is amazing, and you guys did a great thing initiating this in the space community, and hope more will come because we definitely need more data.
That's good to hear. I'm doing the best I can. We've run into some issues with Soma where that data is actually not in OSDR anymore. The raw data isn't. So I've been trying. I mean, the reason that I'm running for this seat on a Blue Origin mission through SIRA is so that I can donate. I can open up a pathway through the Personal Genome Project, so I can actually create a way for everyone to access this data that can't be censored by anyone, that doesn't require IRB oversight on the user side, on the researcher side, so that we can actually have another pathway for researchers to have stable access to genomic data that can't be taken away from them.
And the space data is, I want to say, it's not easy to replicate, and every mission is unique to itself. So that's why I think the collaboration becomes very important. Like even multiple PIs, you can study different things from the same mission, but it's great to have like a all overall cross collaboration across researchers.
Yeah, I suppose, is there anything unique about omics data? Is there anything that you can see with omics data that you wouldn't be able to see otherwise?
I think the omics data, the beauty of the omics data, it just can give you a broader picture or a whole picture. Like instead of looking at, I only have a blood sample result, like looking at the CBC or one hormone level, or like, only genes. So you can look at the different segments of it, like genes, proteins, metabolites. Like you can have a bigger all overall picture. And when you put those small pieces like a puzzle, so maybe it can help you to interpret it better, or like, you can have more meaningful answers. And that's very important, especially when we think about space. There are so many stressors, like it's gravity changes, radiation, isolation, like immune dysregulation. So it's a complex area to study because you don't have, I have one experiment and I'm only looking for impact of one thing on my study. So you have multiple variables in the picture. So that's what I think omics is very, very important.
Of all the omics data that we collect, so we collect blood, we collect urine, stool, saliva, skin swabs, skin biopsies. What's your favorite body part? What?
Am I allowed to say?
I don't know. If I'll check the YouTube algorithms. If that's a word that gets me flagged, I will bleep you.
Okay. Well, I can say, of course, my favorite is, if I want to give an answer from my specialty perspective, anything related to obstetrics and gynecology. So female reproductive organs would be ideal to have from any species so we can understand it more. Yeah, but I think blood is good too. So we can get a broader picture of different things from the blood as well.
One seems to want blood. That's the major one. You're unique in the female reproductive system.
Thank you.
But that reminds me, the first time that we met, I believe it was at ASGSR,
Yes.
and I will never forget your area of expertise because we were both in an art competition. I got second place, you got first place, and I have with me
Oh my
the
God.
first place winning work of
Yeah.
art.
Thank you so much for not forgetting that. Yeah, it was like Women's Reproductive Odyssey, we called it. And we would like to emphasize a female that wherever you go, doesn't matter like Antarctica, submarine, space. So this is like a whole life cycle, starting from birth, puberty, menstrual cycle, like fertilization. There's a background, there's an embryo growing there. So I would like to just picture out like to see female as a whole. not only reproductive years, but then the perimenopause and menopause. So that was very meaningful to my heart. And I just wanted to pass that message to the world, basically.
Well, it is immortalized on their website. That is where I was able to get the high resolution photo.
Thank you so much, Elia. Yeah, I'm happy to send you on to a better one. Yeah, but yeah, that sometimes it got criticism too, but as I say, it's just an organ and it's our part of our physiology and our body. So we just need to see it in a broader picture, how, the environmental factors, any extreme environmental factor can affect us. And it's the same for males, it's the same for every individual. The only thing I keep talking about female health because of my training and my background.
I made this promise to you off camera, and I'll say it, on camera as well, so that it's official and on the record, and you can hold me to it. But, if and when I win this seat to space with the Space Exploration and Research Agency, I will give you swabs of my female reproductive system before and after flight to add to your collection.
Thank you so much. We will be very happy to analyze it. And this is very, very meaningful. And there is also on Earth research on talking about how microbiome changes affect female health. Or sometimes you may use for diagnosis things like in certain conditions, like it's important for cancer, endometriosis. So there has been some emphasis on female specific microbiome areas as well. So, it's great. Thank you so much. We all appreciate contributing to science on Earth and space.
It's a pretty natural extension of what we do for our typical collection protocols. We do skin swabs already. We do oral and nasal swabs. We do swabs behind the ear. We do armpit swabs, belly button swabs between the toes. There's 10 sites total, but the swab for you will be the 11th site.
Thank you so much. We will be very grateful to work and analyze it. And we have some preliminary data from parabolic flight too. We noted some changes.
Oh, there were
Hopefully,
striking changes. You showed them to me. It was
yes, yeah. So we submitted to ASGSR, but we are working in producing as a paper now. So hopefully it will be published as well. Again, this is like the science is evolving so rapidly comparing to like 20, 30 years ago, and the microbiome is another aspect of it. And it's also the part of the omics data set too, like looking at. I truly believe that omics is currently the foundation of personalized medicine on Earth, and it will be for space. And hopefully we can able to profile more astronauts, and then we can use this data combining with clinical data for risk prediction, for coming up with countermeasures based on personal or like individual biology basics.
It's amazing work. And it sounds like there's a lot of opportunity on the horizon.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Dr. Mathyk, thank you so much for joining me today. I know you've been busy at the hospital all day, and I really value the time that you were able to give.
It's my pleasure, Dr. Overbay, and I'm wishing you the best from my heart. Your work is amazing. We work together. I always trust your scientific input and, your results as well. So I hope we can see you going to space and we can continue to work on different projects. And yeah, looking forward to hear the great news.